Just when I think Bravo cannot surprise me, they do it. Never in my entire time covering these shows or watching these shows have I heard of reunion audio being leaked, but here it is. It's happened. And what does it mean? Is it going to change how reunions are done? Is there going to be legal action? I mean, Kyle's already speaking on it. So yeah, I've got all that and more. And again, if you're looking for ad-free episodes, head over to patreon.com/Bravo and Botox. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to the Bravo Papers, a safe space for all us Bravo fans who love to analyze, deconstruct, and talk about our favorite Bravo shows ad nauseum. So join me, Bravo and Botox, and we'll catch up on all the Bravo news and read way too much into our favorite shows and Bravo celebrities. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bravo Papers, Bravo Weekly News, here with your host, Emily. And myself, just like many of you, woke up to kind of an unprecedented, sounds like we're talking about something so serious. But I mean, it is for us, but woke up to this unprecedented audio leak from the Summer House reunion. So, I mean, I can't even go in order with the news because this is such a huge thing. But listen, in all my time watching these shows, seeing the kind of anticipation for reunions and things like that, whether it's like Scandival or anything else, have there been leaks? Yes, there have been leaks, like information leaks, like maybe somebody sending a DM or something to Dumois or whatever. But like for there to be actual recorded audio leaking is like, it is insane. And I mean, someone leaked it. We don't know who. So let me talk about what's in this audio leak. I'm not going to play it. I don't want to get in trouble, obviously. NBC and Bravo is like pulling the clips on the internet and kind of like having them taken down and all that kind of stuff. Initially, I shared it on my Instagram story, but then I took it down like a few minutes later because I was like, you know what? I don't want, like, as much as like, I'm not like that upset. I'm not like upset about it from like a moral standpoint. Like, that's wrong. Like, I mean, technically it is illegal. It is against like their contracts or whatever, whoever did this and works for Bravo. But at the same time, I'm like, there is some positives about it, but at the same time, I don't want to get in shit and I don't want to like, I don't want it to threaten like my Instagram or my account and stuff like that. So that's why I took it down. But you can definitely find it. You can definitely still find it in many places, but it is getting taken down. Like that's just a thing. But listen, many people are going to screen record it and save it in their camera roll. Like there's no way to completely like dead this thing. So yeah, there's that. But okay, what I want to go over here is I'm not going to play it, but I'll just kind of read through like a transcript because it has been transcribed on Instagram, Reddit, etc. And that's why this is kind of a losing battle for Bravo. I mean, listen, I know Bravo is like Bravo and Andy, everyone, they're like, this is unethical and it undermines all the hard work and people really sharing their emotions and blah, blah, blah. And other people are like, it's a spoiler, it ruins the reunion. I mean, I can understand those perspectives. I think it's such a short clip that I don't think it really, like, I don't know. For me, it doesn't ruin anything. It just creates more anticipation than there already was. And this is the way that I'm looking at it, is that it gives us a unedited glimpse into, Amanda and Wes, mostly Amanda, because she does more talking, into kind of their attitudes. And I'm not going to put it past Bravo or Andy or anyone else. Well, not Andy, but Bravo and the editors, because he obviously doesn't do the editing, but the editors and the production of this show to try and protect Amanda. Like, I just wouldn't be surprised if they would be trying to like edit the audio or splice things in a way that makes her look less evil, because this clip and like this unedited raw clip is audio clip is it is not a good look. Like it really shows a lack of remorse. It shows Amanda seeming like she really just doesn't give a shit about Sierra and her feelings or about what she's done, that she doesn't feel bad about it. Like, it's not good. Okay, so let's start. So it starts with Sierra kind of being cut off, and like not cut off. It's just like we don't get like the full sentence, but you get to run amok, and because everyone is your friend. And then Lindsay's like, to be clear. And then Sierra, some of the random things that Lindsay and Kyle say in this really make me laugh. Okay. And then Sierra, you get to manipulate people and say whatever you want to them and get whatever you want from them. And then Kyle says that's what's been so fraudulent. And I think that in this moment, they're talking to West. Okay. And then Sierra says it's literally your MO. And then Kyle's like, it's like, because Kyle confirmed on Threads that he is speaking to West in this moment. So I'm assuming Sierra and Kyle are speaking to West. So Kyle says it's like you tell yourself something so that you can be at peace with the schmuck that you are. That is, if I had a list of like, here's the insults that Kyle is going to call West, I actually would have picked schmuck. Like it just makes so much, like this is such a Kyle thing to say. That you are, but everybody else has a complete different interpretation of their relationship with you. And then Mia chimes in and says, Amanda, why are you doing this? And Amanda's like, what do you mean? See, like that is something that maybe they would have edited. Like maybe they would have just gone straight to a Mia being like, you went from being married, and I'm not saying your relationship was perfect. And then Amanda goes, it's definitely not. And then Mia says, but you went from being married to being one of West's side bitches. That's crazy. And Amanda goes, okay. And then Mia says, this is unnecessary. Like I could see them chopping out Amanda saying, what do you mean? Because what do you mean? What does she mean? How can you say, like, how can you even say that? Like that alone shows a lack of remorse, right? And then Mia's like, this is just so unnecessary. Okay. Which she's right. It is. Like, anyways. And then West is like, and then we have West. The statement came out incredibly rushed because of how insane it all became. And then Lindsay goes, you got smoked out. I was dying when I heard that, because Lindsay helped us smoke it out. Let's be honest. I was following all the clues, and I was like, believing it, especially once the clues got like crazy and stuff. And I said from the jump that I could see it happening. And I was one of the people who sent Lindsay a DM and was like, so does this mean your team Sierra? And then Lindsay liked it. And that was like one of the 5,000 pieces of evidence that the internet had put together. So it is funny when Lindsay said that, because I was like, Lindsay totally helped smoke her out. Like this is like, Lindsay's really playing the long game when it comes to revenge. Like she has been biding her time and finally her time came, because we all know she's low-key has hated Amanda since day one. And Andy's like, so why did you feel the need to? And then Amanda says, because there was a video that was out there, and the last thing I wanted was for us to continue to continue denying it, and for this video of me taken in a very vulnerable, intimate situation to be used as blackmail. Yeah, so we have a lot of like the victim stuff. It's like, oh, I was vulnerable, it was intimate. Like now this is like this is her and Wes, like one piece of information or one piece of the story that could possibly get them some sympathy. So they're of course going to play that up. And then it doesn't say it in this written out transcript here, but someone asked what was on the video, and then Amanda says, I don't know what the video was. Okay, so like, what are we talking about? So you don't even know if there is a video or what it is. So how do you know if it's intimate if there's no video? Like the whole video thing was like a rumor. I remember flying around social media, but no video ever actually like appeared or made any sort of appearance anywhere. So it's like, Ugh, that's just so stupid. Okay. And then Sierra says, and would you even have came to me if the video didn't come out? And would you even if the video didn't come out, or would you? I don't really get what she's saying. But Amanda's like 1000%. So what was the plan? And then KJ says, where was the apology for Sierra in the statement? Thank you, KJ. All the little side chimer inners like KJ, Mia, Lindsay, they're all perfect. They're all doing a great job. No notes. Okay. And then Sierra says, because I asked you, I sent you a text. Listen, I asked you when the rumors came out, is this true? And you were like, no. And Amanda says, and I denied it. Yeah, that's what she's saying. You were like, me and West are just friends. And Amanda's like, I 100%, I denied it and I lied to you. But here's the thing that's not coming through with these transcripts is Amanda's tone. She's extremely like just defensive, and she sounds like she really doesn't think that she's wrong. And she sounds almost irritated by Sierra being upset about this. And that is what is the most annoying thing. And that is what just makes her look terrible. And not look terrible, she is terrible. But anyways, and then Sierra says, you denied it. And you were like, duh, we are just best friends. Like, that is such a fucked up thing to say. Like, if for Amanda to have said that to Sierra when she asked her. And then Andy tries to ask a question. And he's like, then why did you? And then Amanda's like, because it was all so new and I was figuring it out. There were so many layers and complications to this. The fact that he was seeing other people, the fact that I was technically still married. And then Carl says, is there not enough complications to go, what the fuck are we doing here? Yes. Thank you, Carl. Never thought I'd be saying that, but thank you, Carl. And then Sierra's like, right? Yeah. And then Carl goes, period. Good job, Carl. Proud of you. Carl's in the mix, as Jesse said. And then Amanda's like, we talked about it. And Sierra's like, so it was so conscious that you guys talked about it. It wasn't just like a drunk hookup. You guys talked about it. And Amanda's like, no, it was. And Sierra's like, we all know. And Amanda's like, it started with, and then Sierra says, how fucking weird it would be. And you still did it. You chose to do it. You kept doing it and you were hiding it. And Amanda goes, okay, so guess what? Sometimes you can't help who you like and who you're attracted to. And then Sierra says, and again, like, she's like, she's not just being like, I was such an idiot. I can't believe I gave in to my like baser desires. I gave in to like just, being vulnerable and lonely after my divorce, and to someone who was comforting, and we had an attraction, and I made that choice and I gave into it and I shouldn't have done that. Like, that's what you should be saying. And I'm a complete asshole and I shouldn't have lied and blah, blah. Like, that is what she should be saying, but she's not. You can't help who you, like, shut up. Okay. And then Sierra's like, you actually can help it. You can. And then Amanda's like, not from what you've said. Why are you arguing back like this? Like, the fact that she even has like the gall to respond to Sierra in that way. And no, if you heard the recording and you heard her tone, it does not help it. Okay. It does not help it at all. And then Sierra's like, you actually can help it. And Amanda's like, not from what you've said. And Andy's like, so Andy might as well not even be here. So Amanda's like, I wasn't married anymore, Sierra. You just said you were married. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines up on this script. You said you were married. Sierra's like, you're still married by the state of New York. You're still fucking married. And then Amanda says, I'm sorry, but when I'm separated from someone, I have to stay celibate and single for the rest of my life until the judge signs paperwork? That's not what she's saying, and you know it. You were just using being married as an excuse to lie and not tell the truth. So you can't then, in the same breath, 2 seconds later, be like, yeah, but I was single, so I didn't do anything wrong. Like, you can't have it both ways, Amanda. I'm sorry. Okay, y'all, I've got some exciting spring news for all of us to get us out of the winter slump. Way Day is coming up at Wayfair. From April 25th to the 27th, you can score the best deals on everything you need for inside and outside your home for spring, summer, and beyond. And the best part is that on Way Day, everything on the site ships fast and free. And if you're wary about shopping for decor and big furniture online, you don't have to be, because the Wayfair verified items means that a product specialist has used a 10-point quality inspection process, so you know you're getting a quality piece. So my house has always been more of a modern farmhouse kind of style, but I'm kind of over that and trying a more classic traditional style. And because of all the handy and specific filters on Wayfair, I've been able to find some perfect decor pieces to help redecorate my home. And with the thousands of reviews, many with pictures, it's so helpful so I can visualize pieces in my space. I got this beautiful floral vase and faux tulips, plus some new fluted candle holders, and they just look gorgeous on my console. Wayday is the sale to shop the best deals in home. We're talking up to 80% off with fast and free shipping on everything. Head to wayfair.com April 25th through the 27th to shop Wayday. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home.
This is Sarah Galley from the podcast Dandy's Girls. Grief doesn't keep a calendar. Anxiety doesn't clock out after 5. Depression doesn't care if it's your busy season. Support can still fit into your life. With Grow, you can find a therapist who meets you where you are. Whether it's your first time in therapy or your 50th, Grow makes it easier to find a therapist who fits you, not the other way around. They connect you with thousands of independent licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights, and weekends. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. And if something comes up, you can cancel up to 24 hours in advance at no cost. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. The single most important decision that I have made to better my life was starting therapy. It's helped me both better understand and communicate with family members, friends. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, and sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/letsgo today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/letsgo. growtherapy.com/letsgo. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
And then Sierra says, nobody was saying that you needed to stay celibate or what the fuck ever, but there are a million other guys in New York City, but you chose one that, and you know how much that fucked me up, and you chose that one guy. Exactly. Perfect response. Exactly what everybody else is pissed off about. And I'm glad that she was able to say that. Because I mean, like, if that was not said at least once at the reunion by someone, I would have gone crazy. And then Amanda says, I didn't choose. I didn't. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Like, this is the problem with Amanda. And this has always been my problem with her, is she never takes accountability, and everything happens to her, not because of her. Like, this is her way of being like, well, I didn't choose this. It chose me. No, it didn't choose you. Yes, you are correct in that you cannot help if you're attracted to someone, but you can help acting on it, and you chose to act on it. People are attracted to people all the time. People get stupid crushes on people, like their coworkers or maybe even their friends, significant other, or whatever. But you make the choice, you keep it inside, you make the choice to not act on it, and you move on. And like every other crush and attraction, we can all get over a crush and get over an attraction, just like we can all, with enough time, get over a relationship or a breakup or a divorce where you once loved someone and they were like the center of your universe and you thought they were your soulmate. Anyone can get over anyone if they need to, okay, with enough time. And the right thing for her to do would be to say, oh no, I've been hanging out with West and we've been friends and I'm starting to catch feelings. So maybe what I should do is start hanging out with him less, separate myself, back off a little bit, hang out with my other friends instead. and not be, going to his apartment all the time and going out with him and his friends all the time. I need to make sure that these feelings don't progress further. And, once filming is done, separate yourself. But no, she just spent more and more time with him, let it grow and fed into it. And so did he, because they wanted to, and they didn't give a shit about Sierra. And that's the hard truth that I think a lot of people, which is why a lot of people were in denial about this at the start, a lot of, the Amanda fans. But that's who Amanda is. And in my opinion, she has always shown herself to be that way. I see a lot of people talking about editing and, oh, well, it was the way she was edited all these years. No, she was an asshole. She was blatantly an asshole. People just didn't want to see it because she's so pretty. Okay. So then Sierra says, because you're a fucking snake, Amanda. A snake in the fucking grass is what you are. And Amanda says, okay. And then Sierra says, you're a snake in the fucking grass, and you should honestly just say, okay, because you know you are. You move silently, but you're fucking deadly. And then Andy says, when Sierra confronted you and said, is this happening? And you denied it. And then the audio is cut off. Okay. So who do we think leaked this audio? I mean, the whole cast is pretty much denying it on social media. I, made some jokes that it was Levi because she's not getting asked back anyway. So what the hell? But, and people are analyzing the audio, like this person's voice is louder, these two are the clearest, and then it's not. But from what I have heard, the audio is not from the like reunion stage. Like it wasn't like a phone in someone's pocket, and that is coming straight from Kyle Cook. So Kyle got on social media to talk about this today. So about 4 hours ago from when I'm recording this, which is Friday evening at almost 8 o'clock, Kyle made some Instagram story videos kind of explaining his theory about the leak and stuff like that. Basically what he said was that, first of all, whoever did this is taking a huge risk, like maybe putting their job on the line, and that Bravo's taking it really seriously, is doing a full cyber investigation, and that whoever it is should seek legal counsel. Yeah, because they can definitely be sued and all that kind of stuff. And, I'm sure Bravo's got a whole team of lawyers and all that kind of stuff. So there's that. And then he says that based on the recording and how it sounded, it does not sound like it was a cast member. He says that the cast members have their phones, yes, but they're in couch cushions or hidden in a way that you can't see them. And in this recording, like you could kind of hear, a lot of people's voices clearly, and that it doesn't make sense with the seating chart and blah, blah, blah. He says that he knows it wouldn't be anyone from like post-production and stuff like that or the cast, and that he thinks it was someone who was recording a speaker, which that actually does make sense, right? Because there are speakers, I guess, around the set that would be playing the live audio as the cast is speaking on their mics. However, as Kyle says in the video, the editors, etc., will go in and they'll adjust the sound levels. So for example, like all their mics, I guess, are at different levels, and you might hear somebody louder than the other, which is why people were like saying like, oh, it has to be this person because this person's louder and that person's quieter or whatever. But he says, actually, if they're recording on a speaker, the levels could be all over the place. And then, post-production would go in and would adjust the levels. Okay. So basically he's saying that's what he thinks happened, but he says the set is pretty closed and pretty secure. He says all the makeup artists and stuff like that who are either contracted and hired by Bravo or by individual castmates are not even allowed on the set. They all have to be like, they stay in the dressing rooms. They can't watch it live or take any part of it. So he said it's pretty like strict as to who they're letting like walk around and whatever. So, he said he doesn't think it's any of the cast members because he says that none of them have anything to gain by leaking this audio. And I do agree with him. Like some people were kind of trying to say like, oh, maybe like, somebody in West and Amanda's camp would want to leak it, but because people will feel bad for Amanda, like she's getting bullied and ganged up on. I think that's a stretch. I think you have to be really delusional because this audio just doesn't seem like that at all. And it just makes Amanda look terrible. And I just don't think anyone on the other side, who all still have a very strong chance of still being employed by Bravo, would do this. Like, there's all sorts of theories. My theory is that it's some messy ass person who works with the cast or is a friend of someone in some way, right? And was, for whatever reason, allowed on set, decided to do this. You know, and as Kyle also says in the video, they probably didn't get paid because the leak is everywhere. So it's not like they just like sold it just to TMZ, like it was in all these other places, or, you know, even before that, before TMZ had it. So it's kind of like, okay, you know, this, you know, maybe they shared it with their friend who shared it with their friend, like whatever. The point is that it is insane that this even happened. Like, I've never, like I said, in all my years covering these shows and watching Bravo, like I've never heard of something like this. So it is pretty wild. And I do think that this will impact how Bravo does reunions going further. Like in the future, I do think that they're going to be even more strict than they already are. And, you know, like I'm remembering reunions where like, you know, you would all of a sudden see like the people on stage and you'd look up and like I'm thinking of the Potomac reunion where like Michael Darby was like up in the rafters and he was like looking over them at one point. Like I'm like, maybe like sometimes they let a friend or family member do that, or someone who's going to be on the set later or whatever. I'm like, I guess that won't be happening anymore. There won't be any of that. But yeah, it's just it's pretty wild. Okay, so we may as well talk about, you know, the reunion more since that's the topic that we're on. So the reunion obviously filmed the other day, and we got a seating chart. Looks like we have Sierra and Amanda right across from each other, and they're first next to Andy, then Kyle and West. To me, this is to be expected. That's kind of exactly what I thought. So, you know, and I know some people were like, oh, I wish like KJ and Mia were closer to Sierra, which I can agree with that. But I do think that like you have to have Kyle and Sierra first, because at the end of the day, you know, as much as a lot of us were not that concerned about Kyle in this situation, he did get, you know, it is his marriage and he did get cheated on with like one of his friends, like, you know, so he is kind of the next in line. So, and I do think that Kyle will, you know, I think that he will stick up for Sierra and take Sierra's side. No, I don't think he's going to go super hard on Amanda specifically. I think he's going to go harder on West, but you know, West needs that too. And then I do think that it's good to have Lindsay there because Lindsay, she'll be a pit bull. And I think having her and Mia right there, like next to Kyle and Sierra, is a good move. Okay, then we have like Bailey and Ben at the end. And then on the other side, you have Amanda, West, Carl. Poor Carl and Jesse and KJ got stuck on this side with but I mean, listen, we can't have like 20 people on one side and 2 on the other. It just doesn't make sense. And you know, I think this is kind of good because then West and Amanda can get it from all angles and directions. So yeah, Carl, Jesse, KJ, Dara, and Levi. And Levi being there is shocking to me, if I'm going to be honest. I feel like she was fired halfway through the season. So yeah, so they recorded the reunion. That was the seating chart. Afterwards, Andy said it was one of the most intense reunions he's ever hosted, and that every question we wanted asked was asked. Okay, thank you. And then KJ, who has been quite active on Threads, wrote kind of right after the reunion, he wrote, "God is good." Okay, we like that. And then there's a lot of sources coming out, kind of, you know, giving little like tidbits about, you know, what the tone was. And this was all before this audio leaked. So, you know, these tidbits turned out to be kind of accurate, but I mean, you could also guess these tidbits and get them right, but whatever. Okay, so according to the Snarkbait podcast, multiple sources were saying that West and Amanda were extremely combative, cold, unremorseful at the reunion. Apparently, West came in confident, guns blazing about their quote unquote timeline, which apparently didn't even add up. Word is he was much more talkative than Amanda, almost like he was speaking for her. A lot of "we were both single and did nothing wrong" bullshit. Everyone else on the cast obviously defending Kyle and Sierra, all alleged Avi, we weren't there, but to be on a fly on the wall. Yeah. So that's kind of what the word on the street has been. And then, once that reunion leaked, the reunion audio leaked, it did really align with that. And, Andy and Bravo made their statements about that audio leaking. Andy said, somebody at Alexandra_90 on Thread said, Andy, stay offline, please. You won't like the news. And he said, I don't. On my way to eye surgery and just reading about it, people laid their souls out emotionally for 10 hours yesterday, and it's disgusting and illegal for someone to leak or distribute this. It's disrespectful to the work and tears the cast put in yesterday. Let the season play out. You will all see it in due time. And then Bravo posted a statement. The Summer House reunion audio leak represents a serious breach of trust and a clear lack of respect for the cast, crew, and the integrity of the production process. We take this matter very seriously and have launched a full investigation, and we will take appropriate action based on our findings. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, again, I'm not like, oh, we should have leaks at all the reunions. Like, no, of course not. I don't want there ever to be an audio leak of a reunion again. I don't care how big the scandal is. However, I do, again, think that there is a, rainbow amongst the dark clouds here, which is that you guys, now that we have heard this, you better not be trying to edit and snip it and clip it so that Amanda is given a more favorable look, because we have this and we've heard it and we're not forgetting. So there you go. Now, besides all that, we have other little things about the reunion, like, Jesse made a comment on the reunion seating chart thing on Bravo's Instagram, and he was like, oh, Carl's definitely in the mix. So I guess Carl got involved in a lot of it too, which, I mean, good. I think Carl has a right to get involved in it, like, to a point. And I hope that his getting involved was standing up for Sierra and not something else that was stupid. But yeah, I think Carl's also kind of like fighting for his life to be on the show again because he wasn't asked to be on In the City. I think there is a little bit of that too, to be honest. Meanwhile, Amanda and West are traipsing all over New York, still being seen and being pictured. They were at this Yankees game and everyone's talking about that and how she like goes to hold his hand and he doesn't look like he really wants to hold it back. And then, people like reading lips and they do like a kiss and they are on like what's it called? Like the kiss cam or like whatever, the camera at the stadium. And then you can kind of see her saying, act like you like me. And then he goes in for a kiss and it looks very forced. Okay. And then on top of that, you have like West, who's like standing up and cheering for I think it was Kansas City. And you see Amanda like kind of like trying to pull him down to sit down. Very, very Amanda and Kyle for her to do that. That's very like how she used to be with Kyle. Like, Kyle, stop embarrassing me. Now it's West, stop embarrassing me. Like she's, yeah, okay, not fun, as Kyle once said. And West is also annoying, by the way. Okay? Sit down. No one cares about you, especially. You're the only one standing in the whole section. Now, that was floating around, and KJ went on Threads and posted sickos. I just threw up in my mouth. Thank God Kansas City claims me. He's been so funny during this. And then Kyle, also on Threads, was not prepared to see that and that with like a nauseous face emoji. And then Mia commented and goes, Kyle, I left you for 1 hour. Well, Mia, I mean, you can't leave Kyle for 5 minutes, let alone an hour. Like this man cannot shut up. Like he's like 2 minutes after all this news broke, after Amanda and Wes made their announcements, you have Kyle doing like a 3-hour street interview. Then Kyle is making like so many videos on Instagram. Case in point, the reunion. The rest of the cast just puts like one tweet out, like, wasn't me, guys. Kyle makes like a 3-part Instagram story video. He's on Threads all the time. Like, this is why he's a good reality star, by the way. Okay, whether you like him or not, this man is made for television. And I'm thankful every day that he's there. Okay, so on top of all of that, besides just never shutting up, Kyle has also been seen out with Megan King Edwards, which is just crazy. I mean, like, it's like, you know, I gave like some darts to like a monkey and he threw them at a bunch of pictures of Bravo Lebs on the wall and it landed on Kyle and Megan. Like, it's so random. I mean, apparently they were at like a page 6 after party and then they were pictured on the street outside of the after party kissing. So again, I don't know, you know, it doesn't mean they're in a relationship. It could be as simple as like they were both drinking and having fun and flirting and they ended up kissing. Like it could be as simple as that. But I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I need Kyle to not get into a relationship with her. Not that Kyle is not perfect by any stretch. Okay. He's got lots of faults and lots of problems, but Megan King is like, I like she's crazy. I don't know what else to say or how else to articulate it. Okay. She's crazy, like to say the least. And I think post divorce, that's just, yeah, let's just, you know, an innocent kiss, no big deal. But I don't think that's a good path for Kyle to be going down right now. Just really don't. Also, again, really, really not on my bingo card. I was just shook when I saw that. I was so shocked by that. Now, you know, all of these episodes that have been coming out lately have been just so shocking to watch, like in retrospect, you know, like now that we know everything, it's like so crazy to see, you know, little clues and even like last episode, Amanda not going for the weekend and just little like side comments and flirtations and things like that. And you know, Kyle, as he does, threaded out. I've watched some hard to relive moments over the last 10 years. I've also seen things unfold as a viewer that I wasn't privy to as a cast member. Last night's episode, what the fuck, with a mind blown emoji. And Lindsay commented, Kyle is all of us watching whatever that was. And then somebody posted just a reminder that Mother Hubbard brought West in this world and she will indeed be taking him out at the reunion. And Lindsay commented, I was waiting for someone to connect this dot. Lindsay, I hope that means you're gonna just I hope she annihilated him at the reunion. I really hope she did. I hope she annihilated both of them. Now, amongst all this chaos, you know, Sierra is really like a beautiful flower blooming amongst the chaos. She was on the cover of Glamour magazine, which is like the cover, okay? And not like, you know, oh, I got a spread, da da da, like the cover. And she looks incredible. I love the way that they styled it. I love how they did her hair. Just everything looks beautiful. It says Sierra Miller versus The Mess. And a few key things, a few like key quotes from it. You can obviously find the article and read the whole thing if you wish. Dating interracially is a whole other layer. Not only do you have to figure out who this person fucking voted for, you have to figure out like, okay, you're attracted to me, but do you like people that look like me? Yes, exactly. And I think she's done a great job at communicating that on the show, especially lately. So yeah, that is kind of one of the things that makes this whole situation even harder to swallow, right? She also says what's done in the dark will always come to light. And sometimes you really don't even have to do anything except sit back and let the universe handle it. Yes. And if by universe she means internet sleuths on Reddit, etc., she is absolutely correct. I mean, they're part of the universe. And those people got it together and they did the karmic bidding for her. So she's right. She didn't have to do anything. You just sit back and chillax. And it's, you know, when things unfold naturally and people get their comeuppance without you really even having to do anything, best case scenario. Like, obviously, the best case scenario would be them not betraying you. But if that's not possible, it's the second best case scenario. Sierra also said it's one thing to experience hurt behind closed doors. To experience it so publicly is like another layer. And then to have to see what you thought was your life still play out in season 10. It's a major mind fuck. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's something that all reality stars have said at many points. Like, it's crazy to, you know, you live this part of your life, you get over it, maybe you make amends with people, etc., and then you have to like relive it all again and relitigate it. And for her, it's even more intense because in this case, it's not just like a regular storyline on a Bravo show. It's like a full-on scandal, right? Glamour asks her, between West and Amanda, who are you closer to? She says, definitely Amanda, but I feel like because West and I were working on our relationship, because we are exes, sometimes you spin the block. Sometimes you land in situations where you guys are out. I feel like there's room to do that if that's your ex. I do feel like I was closer to Amanda at that particular time, but I also know she probably wasn't going to come to my birthday dinner just because you know the rule with her. She wants to be invited, but she doesn't necessarily want to come, which is fine because I'm totally the same way. I appreciate the invite, but I don't want to go. Okay, so yeah, and I mean, I understand that line of thinking of like, I want to be invited, but I don't always want to go, as Sierra is clearly saying here that she understands. But I do think that if it's your friend's birthday and it's like a special birthday, which correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this was her 30th birthday, if I'm right, a real friend goes, even if they don't want to. Like, I have had those times where I've felt depressed or social battery depleted, and I want nothing more than to not go. But if it's one of my best friends, I go, you know. And I understand that there are some cases where people have like serious clinical depression and they literally can't. I get that. But I don't think that was the case in this situation. Glamour asks who she feels more betrayed by, West or Amanda. And she says, at the end of the day, a guy's a guy. Whether or not West and I are working on a relationship, you can't put anything past a man. But I just never would think that it would come from someone like Amanda, who has been what has felt like in my circle and in my corner for so long. I think that's the craziest part. They ask if Amanda is jealous of her. And I mean, I knew she wouldn't answer this question. She says she doesn't know. That's a question for her, which I think is a great answer because, yeah, you don't want to get into that. Because then if you start being like, yes, everyone's jealous of me, then you start looking like the conceited asshole. So I think that was a smart answer. But by the way, Amanda's definitely jealous of her. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, I think Sierra spoke on this in a very classy way. I think she did the right thing by kind of waiting for like the right publication and the right moment. Um, and I think it kind of cleared up a lot of things, like people trying to say that Sierra and Amanda weren't that close. People trying to say that, West and Sierra didn't have like serious feelings for each other, or that it wasn't that serious and all this kind of stuff. And she even says in the article, that West was at her birthday dinner and that they did have a conversation about like, what do I need from you? What do you need from me? What are some boundaries, to make our friendship easier? And one of those was no more sleeping with people on Bravo. And she says, at the end of the day, we were genuine friends, which is what made all of this so hurtful. Right. So, yeah, exactly. And I mean, we all just saw on the most recent episode. I mean, that scene was insane of her and him like talking, and she starts bawling her eyes out and they're hugging. And I mean, looking at that scene, knowing what we know, you can see kind of how manipulative West is being and how he just really seems like he only cares about himself, and how the public sees him. And it's clear that from the jump, that's all he cares about. I don't think he really cares about anyone except himself. But I even think like one of the reasons that he likes Amanda is because of her kind of like status on the show. Like, I do think that was part of it. Like, I think he is a fame hungry loser. So, yeah. So what else do we got? Oh, yes. Can't forget this. Sierra Miller is going to be on the newest season of Dancing with the Stars, which is awesome. So yeah, Dancing with the Stars announced their first two contestants, and it was Sierra and Maura Higgins, who was recently on The Traitors, but originally from Love Island. So yeah, it's really exciting for her, and I hope she does well. And I think, she's definitely following the Ariana Madix trajectory. I mean, this is like the best part of all of this. This is always my favorite part. It's just because all these people were like, oh, Ariana's just getting her 15 minutes and then it's going to be over and then me. And you know what? It's like years later, and Ariana's career is fantastic. She owns an adorable sandwich shop. She's still hosting Love Island. She does tons of commercials and paid stuff. She's got acting gigs, so everybody can go F themselves. And this is not going to be the first magazine cover in Sierra's career, nor is it going to be like she's going to be popular for 2 minutes. Like, this can really launch people, especially in the era that we're living in, where influencers and online. This isn't like the year 2005 or 1995 where it was only like A-list celebrities and supermodels who had careers that could last, and then anyone else was like a one-hit wonder, or that's where that like 15 minutes of fame thing came from. It's not really like that now. Like, yes, there can be people on social media and online who can pop off and then get forgotten about. That can definitely happen. But I don't think these are those scenarios. I think these are the types of scenarios with Ariana and Sierra where the audience already liked the person and kind of wanted the best for them, and then sees them get hurt in this insanely high level of betrayal. And the audience wants to see them, for the most part, except the haters, there's always haters, but wants to see them succeed and wants to see them grow. So those opportunities keep coming. They maintain, like, I still follow Ariana. I still like all her posts. Like, even though she's not on Bravo anymore, like, I'm still like excited when I see stuff from her. She's still, someone who's on people's minds. Like, it doesn't just disappear, right? And it doesn't mean like they shouldn't have some kind of like other plan for the rest of their lives. But, this is a career that they can invest in and make good on, right? So, I think Sierra has a bright future ahead of her in that sense. And I also think that her doing Dancing with the Stars and just the way that she has handled this, the glamour interview, the like raising money for Girl Scouts, like all that kind of stuff, like she's just really handled it like perfectly, right? And even if she didn't, it doesn't matter. She doesn't have to handle it perfectly, but she just has. She's like shown up as a good person, and she's not like overly trying to like leak things and talk shit about it. She's just like taking it she's taking deep breaths, not literally, well, maybe literally, I don't know, but like she's not just like going nuts and like popping off. She's not like being like Kyle, but like Kyle being like Kyle works for Kyle, right? It works for his personality, and he's in a different situation. Speaking of that, when she had posted that link for the Girl Scouts, it actually ended up, she posted that on her social media for people to donate to, and it raised over $160,000, which is such good news. And, again, like using your platform for something good. And again, I don't begrudge anyone for using it to simply make money and support their life. I didn't agree with people who criticized Lindsay and Carl for doing that Uber Eats commercial. Like, I think make your money. This is their job. This is what they do. And I think they are allowed to make a commercial making fun of something dumb that Kyle said. And I'm sure the whole cast was fine with it. Maybe not West and Amanda, because they're probably salty somewhere. Like, Sierra is going to make her money in the way that she needs to, in the timeline that she wants to, in ways that are good for her career. Speaking of that, she is in a Sonic ad with Ariana Madix. It was in Marie Claire magazine, and it kind of has like quotes from the two of them and pictures together, and it's super cute. And they asked Ariana about her advice and for Sierra, and she said, "I think that Sierra's in such a great place in her career that she's so above and beyond any advice I would be able to give her." What a good answer! Like, holy shit. So yeah, things are on the up and up. And you know what? As mad as she can be about this and as sad as she can be about this, it is just going to be for the best. It really is. You're going to get rid of this trash bag of a man. You're going to know that you're better off without him. And sometimes we need that kick in the pants. Sometimes women, we hang on, we hope he's going to change, we hope he's going to fulfill us. And sometimes we need that thing that just shocks us out of that like delusion, and we realize like, what was I thinking? And then everything gets better. So yeah, we've seen that story many times, and we're going to see it again. Now, we just have a couple more things left in terms of Summer House. Sorry, I know this is a lot of Summer House, but Jesse was on Watch What Happens Live, and he did have some things to say that I cannot ignore. He was asked about how he feels that, Wes confronted him this season about him like wanting to make out with Sierra. He says he finds it frustrating since Wes dated her 2 years ago, and now he's hooking up with his friend's wife. And everybody was like, ooh. And he also was asked, do you have like any advice, or like, how do you think he's going to handle the reunion? And Jesse said, well, I think based on what I know, he's going to be going in pretty combative. So yeah, so he said he was kind of like, I would hope he would go in like basically like tail between his legs, apologetic, but it seemed like, he thinks he's got like timelines and all that stuff on his side and he's going in pretty combative, which Jesse says, I hope he didn't. Clearly based on the audio we heard and the leaks or the kind of, words on the street that we've gotten so far, it doesn't sound like he followed Jesse's advice. So yeah. They asked Jesse if he thinks they were hooking up last summer. Jesse says he doesn't know, but he doesn't think so and he hopes not, which that may have been ruined by Mia from Southern Hospitality, which we'll get into in a minute. Actually, let's get to that now. So Mia from Southern Hospitality, because not Mia from Summer House, who I talked about last news episode. Mia from Southern Hospitality was on Watch What Happens Live. And she, as many of us know, went on a date with West. And again, I covered this. I covered this on this show. I remember talking about it. This was back in like September that they were pictured together at a restaurant in New York City. So she says that they did go on a date and she's like, I'm just going to be honest. At the time I did have fun. She says, but then I saw Amanda at BravoCon who came up to me and told me that her and West pre-gamed our date and that she like gave him tips or whatever. And she says, at the time I was like, oh, wow, that's like so nice of her. What a good friend, etc. But, looking back on it, it's kind of weird. And then Andy's kind of like, okay, when was this that you talked to Amanda? And she's like, well, when was BravoCon? And he was like, November. And she's like, yeah. And then he's like, but when was the date with West? And she's like, September. And, people have gone back and pulled up the picture and when it was posted. And yeah, it was in September. So so Amanda and West pre-gamed at his apartment before he went out with Mia. Interesting. And then isn't it so funny that Amanda has to go out of her way to make sure Mia knows that I was with him first before you were, and we pre-gamed. And we had so much fun. And like, again, it is her passive aggressive way, because Amanda's always passive aggressive. It is her passive aggressive way of staking her claim, of making sure that all the women around him that he's also seeing or talking to know that she's the special one. She's the chosen one. Again, it is the height, epitome, whatever of pick me behavior. That is what it is. And people, like, I've seen people online be like, why is Amanda doing this? Like, didn't she learn her lesson with Kyle? No. The reason Amanda wanted to land Kyle, and if you all you original Summer House watchers, if you remember, she was Kyle's like booty call, right? He wanted to be single. He didn't want to be in a relationship, but she kept coming around. And again, I'm not like blaming her for that, but the two of them kept hooking up. And she was kind of okay with like being called at like midnight after or whenever he got home from the club and etc. and not being really like his girlfriend, quote unquote, officially. And again, she just wanted like to get picked by this like hot older guy and wanted to be the one who was like special, even though she knew that he was still making out and hooking up with other girls. Like, and then of course it ends up continuing throughout their entire relationship. And like all she wanted, like the fact that he cheated on her and then he proposed like within a year and she's crying like she's in a fairy tale, like that should tell you everything you need to know. But then now it's the same thing with West, right? She in the audio and like of that reunion leak and just in general, we know she knows that he's seeing other people. But again, it's this like, I'm different. He'll change for me. And that's what these kind of man-centered pick-me girls, I'm sorry, but that is the way that they think. And it's not good. And she's going to learn the very hard way again. Like, you think she would have learned from her divorce and everything and being cheated on by Kyle a million times, but I guess not. Okay, so my apologies, because I did kind of get sidetracked ranting there. There is more Southern Hospitality news, okay? So Mia, in addition to what she talked about with West on Watch What Happens Live, she also said that she was asked about Maddie and Joe and if they're quote unquote end game. I guess they did one of those like Watch What Happens Live polls. And, Andy asked me, and she kind of hesitates, like, well, no, she really hesitates. Like, she basically like is like, and then Andy's like, okay. And she's like, well, they love each other. And she strongly implies that Maddie doesn't love Joe as much as he loves her. And then with the end game thing, she just doesn't, like, she literally just doesn't answer it. And Andy's like, okay. And then she's like, no, I know they say I love you. I know that for a fact. And Andy's like, okay, well, that doesn't that doesn't help. That doesn't answer the question, etc. Like, what are we doing here? But yeah, it was pretty wild. Listen, they're not endgame. I just, like, I could be wrong, okay? Just like I could have been wrong about Amanda and Wes, but I wasn't. But I could be wrong, but I just don't see it. Like, Joe keeps talking about like getting married and kids. I'm like, I just can't even see Maddie doing that anytime. Like, I think maybe in like 10 years. And is he going to wait that long? Maybe he will. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like they're on the same page. It just really doesn't. Okay, let's go to some Beverly Hills news. Erica Jane was on Watch What Happens Live, and she was asked if she could ask PK one question and he had to answer, what would it be? And Erica says, and she's kind of like, oh, I don't know. And then she goes, oh, how they really met. And everyone's like, ooh. And Andy's like, ooh. Now, the reason this is ooh, and this is Erica throwing shade, is because there have always been rumors that Dorit kind of was like the other woman. Okay, so PK was married before Dorit and he had kids, and they're like adult kids at this point. Okay. Now, it's always been kind of maintained by Dorit that she met him after he was already separated or divorced or whatever. But there has been a word on the street since like the jump. This has always floated around that it actually wasn't like that. There was a little bit of overlap, and that, again, that Dorit was maybe the other woman. And, that is from such a long time ago. And now she's divorcing PK. So it's like, why would that be like the question that you want to ask PK rather than like, oh, is it true that, you neglect your kids? Or I don't know. There's more like timely, relevant questions, or like mortgage questions. Like, why did she choose that one? Well, we know she chose it because she's being shady. Like, that is a fact, 100%, because her and Dorit are not friends anymore and they're like hating each other or whatever. And, Kyle has her minions doing their minion thing. And as she does, she's got, Teddy on her podcast with Tamra, also, making sure to spread as much bad press about Dorit as possible. So Teddy says that she was embarrassed by Dorit Kemsley's behavior at Kyle Richards' daughter's wedding. So despite all the fights and stuff that they've been having on the show and all that, Dorit did still go to Kyle's daughter's wedding. And I guess, Teddy basically said, like, there's nothing that she pinpoints that's like, oh, she yelled out this during the ceremony, or, oh, she was so drunk she fell over and tripped a groomsman. Like, there's nothing, there's nothing like that. But it's just like, oh, she was talking so loud, at this part where we were supposed to be quiet, or during the speeches, or she, I can't remember. I think there was something about maybe her coming late. So there was nothing, it wasn't like anything that was like so huge. Like, I listened to it more than once and I can't even like remember. Like, it was not that impactful. And I'm not trying to defend Dorit, because Dorit is a twit and she's annoying. I've never really liked Dorit. They're just forcing me to be on her side because I know what Kyle's doing. Kyle is gathering her army and she's doing a full takedown, because that's what Kyle does. She did it with LVP. She'll do it with whoever she doesn't want on the show anymore. She's done it a million times. Okay. So, she's got Erica on Watch What Happens Live. Let's remind everyone she was the other woman. And now she's got Teddy on her podcast. She ruins people's weddings and she's obnoxious and da-da-da. Like, she's always been obnoxious. She's always been late. She's always been loud. She's always been long-winded. She's never shut up. She's always been shallow, like acting like all these things are new. Like, you didn't seem to mind any of that stuff when she was on your side and she was one of your little minions. And that's the other reason that it's hard for me to feel like that bad for Dorit. Like, I'm on Dorit's side overall, but I'm also like, you were also one of Kyle's little soldiers and you helped do this to other people and didn't really step in a real way, like throughout the years. So, like, I don't, it's hard for me to care that much because I just hate everybody. Anyways, yeah. Okay. So, besides that, in Beverly Hills news, we also have, and no, I have not watched the reunion yet, by the way. So, I know part one of the reunion's out. I'm actually going to watch it when I'm done recording this. And, based on what I see on social media, I am a little bit excited for it. It actually looks like it might be half decent, unlike the season. I actually thought that the previews for the Beverly Hills reunion, I actually thought that they looked better than the season. Like, I was like, because they tried so hard to make things happen during the season and a lot of it was stupid. But now, like, a lot of the people who tried to make drama happen where it just didn't need to, like Sutton and Bose, were just kind of like, it felt like they were just like making things up. It felt like Sutton was making things up at the end when it came to Dorit. It felt like Bose was making things up about Amanda. And don't get me wrong, Amanda's obnoxious, but like she was reaching a lot of the time. And it was like, okay, you're picking on like the low hanging fruit. Like Amanda's like so stupid and annoying. It's so easy to like pick on her, and then now it's like coming back to bite them. So I'm kind of like, okay, I could watch this reunion. So yeah, I will do that later. But we first need to talk about some Rhode Island news. So Alicia, our favorite Rhode Islander who loves Jane's Fonda and runs people over, was on Watch What Happens Live, and she is clearing up some things about the woman who she run over. I can't believe I'm saying this sentence. She says the woman dove in front of her car. Okay. She says the woman was fine and she is fine. And then she says she went through the windshield a bit. And Andy's like, what? And she's like, well, she cracked it. And she said then they had to like chase her down a bit to get her to go to the hospital. So I don't know what the situation, maybe this woman was high or drunk or God knows what, or, did this on purpose. I don't know. But so Alicia says she and whoever she was with had to literally like chase this woman down and like force her to go to the hospital because she was like, yeah, she was not wanting to go get checked out, but I guess Alicia was like, no, you need to go checked out. Like, what if you have like internal bleeding or something like that? And yeah, so that's some further detail on the woman being run over story. Meanwhile, we have more news about the alleged mistress. So this is Rula's husband's alleged mistress. So I told you about how she was like posting on Instagram, like a picture where you could see like Rula and her husband's like guest house in the back, and like, so we could see that they actually had an affair. So it seems like she is some sort of like skincare person, salesperson, consultant. I don't know. Or maybe has her own company. I didn't look that deeply into it, but she's like putting up posts and like tagging Bravo in them. So she posted this picture. It's like a video of like her like on a beach, and it says truth. Choosing medical grade skincare and laser treatments for 2.5 years isn't a lapse in judgment. It's a committed and intentional lifestyle. And then she wrote, the effort you put into your skin is a reflection of your commitment, just like in any 2.5 year relationship. Stay on track. Hashtag if you know, hashtag Real Housewives of Rhode Island. So I guess she's implying, it's kind of like a double entendre, like her 2.5 year relationship with her skincare and her 2.5 year affair with Rula's husband. And then she has another post where she's talking about skincare. And it's like, skincare belongs in a medical office, not the mall. And then she is tagging Bravo in it. Okay, the thirst is real. And listen, I'm not on Rula's side and I'm not on Rula's husband's side. This is kind of like Erica, Dorit, and Kyle. It's like they're all like crazy. But I'm just looking at this. I'm like, the thirst is real. And this is not, we've seen people try this tactic. Like, this is not how you're getting on Bravo. Like, she's hoping to come on as the mistress, unless one of the current housewives calls you up and invites you in a scene. Like you could be like, when Kenya brought the cookie lady to lunch or whatever, like you might get one of those moments, but you're not going to, like, if you think you're going to be like a main cast member or something, like that's not happening. Let's just get realistic here. Oh, and speaking of Real Housewives of Atlanta, Lee Nasher died. And if you're like, Emily, who the hell is that? He is the most famous person to never actually appear on Bravo, also known as Big Papa. Honestly, like the end of an era. Like that, again, one of the best storylines on reality television was like Big Papa. And like, it's just so, and Kim always referring to him and like, thank you, Big Papa. Like, just, it's crazy. And that's where we got Close Your Legs to Married Men. Like, we've just so much famous lines and iconic moments came out of that. But again, like, he was never actually on the show. And like, imagine you die and you're in like all these headlines and all of them say, like, they all say Big Papa and they all say RH. Like, when you Google it, and I just Googled his name without mentioning Big Papa or Atlanta or whatever, they all say that. Like, it's like legit, this is kind of how he's known. Okay. So yeah. So he died at age 68. Rest in peace. The wealthy Atlanta real estate investor passed away on April 18th. This was confirmed by his daughter. She put an IG story, pictures of them together, and an emotional tribute. We don't know what the cause of death was, but yeah. And that storyline was always kind of like Kim, like thinking he was going to leave his wife for her, and clearly he wasn't. Like many of these guys, they say they will and they never do. But yeah, him and his wife, it seems like they were together until his death. They had 4 kids together. Like, he was, that was never going to happen. um but yeah, Kim eventually gave up on it, clearly, especially once she found her NFL player. Okay, so yeah, pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Now we have some Real Housewives of Potomac news, because, and I hate reporting this news, but Giselle and Wendy have unfollowed each other mid-season of filming, mid-filming of season, what am I saying, of season 11. So, a lot of people are like, oh, there you go, Robin Dixon's back, and already Giselle and Wendy can't be friends anymore, and etc. And I wish I could have a retort for that, but I don't. It's true. Like, it's really annoying, and I really hope that this isn't like some gang up on Wendy, let's find ways to like make her feel even worse about her legal situation, or like that kind of thing. Because now it just feels like even with Robin and a friend of role, it's like, are the mean girls back together? Like sometimes, like, I feel like when Giselle and Robin are together, they really like feed off of each other, not in a good way. So again, I'm making a lot of assumptions just based on an unfollow, but we all know unfollows in the Bravo world, they don't mean nothing. They usually mean things. Okay. Unless you find out that they didn't follow each other in the first place, but they did. Okay. And speaking of unfollows, another very upsetting one from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, because Mary and Angie have unfollowed each other. Like, I can't. I really can't. Like, I just can't. Like, I cannot handle a new season where Mary's son has passed away and then her and Angie are going to get into it, and to the point where Angie's not going to like take into consideration like what Mary's going through and what her state of mind is, and the grief and how it's impacting her, and that she's going to be petty and unfollow her. Now, the only thing I could think of though could be if Mary is mad at Angie, and that's, that could happen just with Mary dealing with so much like difficulty and grief and all that kind of stuff. And if Mary blocked Angie. So it could be that. Okay, so I'm just going to hold out hope, because otherwise I'm going to have to fully turn on Angie. Because if Angie is being that ununderstanding, or that, and just say they have some petty spat, like some petty housewife spat, if Angie is being that whatever, and she's going and unfollowing Mary and not like being the bigger person in this situation because she knows what Mary's going through, I will be extremely, extremely, extremely disappointed in her. like beyond, not mad, just disappointed. Okay. Okay, we have one more thing before we go today. We have an update from Lisa Hochstein's arrest. So she was arraigned on criminal charge, and she is tentatively set for trial on June 21st. And she has entered a plea of not guilty. Get it, girl, but just be careful because Karen Huger did that and it didn't work out well. Just to get, just a little warning. You never know what could happen with that kind of stuff. So yeah, let's hope that it works out better for Lisa. I mean, this is obviously such a different case, and it's not like Lisa has like 4 charges already of wiretapping or spying on people, like Karen, who already had 4 DUIs previous or 3 DUIs previous to this one, the 4th. So a little different, but I am sure that we're going to get some updates from that soon. And you know what always happens? I'm sure the court date's going to get pushed back, and then this is going to happen. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what her lawyers what defense they take, if they think she should take a plea deal. I don't know. I'll be interested to follow it. Too bad Bravo isn't with their cameras because they're pissing me off. But yeah. Okay, everyone. So let's wrap up there and see you all next week. And hopefully I can give more focus to other shows. But I can't record 2 episodes every single week. I just literally don't have the time. I'm trying, but the news and the updates from the Bravo host world are just coming fast and furiously, and people want them. And it's like every time I freaking open my phone, there's an update. So I am sorry that there isn't more focus on that. I'll try. I'm going to just keep trying to get the other news in as much as I can. Okay. If I can do 2 episodes next week, I will, depending on what happens. So, desperate times call for desperate measures. Okay. You are now in the now for everything Bravo. See you next time. Bye.